There we go. Okay. So the overall theme at the summit was just about how it takes so many hands, and we actually get to like paint our hands. Everybody, all the leaders did this and put them on trees there, which was super fun, and it was kind of fun to get messy. But it was, Leslie really talked about her story and, you know, why she started. And I don't know if everybody knows her story or not, but her kids had some dietary needs and she could not find food at the grocery store that she could feed her kids. And so out of necessity, she had to develop something to feed her kids. And so her parents helped, and that's kind of how Wildtree started. The intention was not to start a business, it was to feed her family. And the more she learned about the food industry, the more she realized what was going on the shelves and how it was not healthy for our bodies. And then since then, more and more and more people are discovering the same thing. And part of what we do is teach people what is in the food and what it can do to our bodies, and how Wildtree can help people easily make dinner at night and not have preservatives, not have chemicals, not have food dyes in their food. So I think that her story is online, and I will try and post that on our team page afterwards, just because I think it's so important that we have at our core what her story is and how we got started in the first place. So the other thing that she shared that I want to share is, you know, we're working down here at the bottom individually with different families all across the nation trying to make an impact. And she also shared about Robin O'Brien, and I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she did a TED Talk, and she worked for the food industry and actually, you know, tried to figure out what the revenues and the expenses and all that were for the products that are getting put on the grocery store shelves. And then one day her son had a seizure, and when that happened, she started to research food and realized what the government was putting into our food. And so she quit her job, and she is going at it from kind of the top down. So she is hitting the government agencies and coming at that angle. We're working bottom up, and the goal is eventually to create change coming together, like, you know, smack in the middle. So we're all doing very, very important work. We're just coming at it from a different angle. So we can post her TED Talk if you guys haven't seen that. I just think it's such good information, and she does a fantastic job of just painting that picture and sharing how our food chain has changed over the last 30 and 40 years. So Leslie was going on to say, you know, we need to spread Wildtree hard and fast. And that means many hands all across the nation getting involved. And the work that we are doing, you guys, it is so, so, so important. I just can't express that enough. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that when we're trying to get bookings and talking to hostesses and getting team members. I think sometimes we lose sight of how important the work we are doing really is to our nation and to our children and for generations to come. So we are going to talk about, you know, telling your story, because really it can be that easy as sharing your story. And another thing we're going to cover tonight is just about the magic of January and everything that's going on right now, and a couple of other surprises at the end that we'll kind of go into. But I'm going to turn it over to Danielle and Tegan. If you guys want to talk about, you know, January and what's going on. One last thing I'll say that I didn't say at the beginning is Wildtree is exploding. And you guys, I don't know if you guys can feel the momentum. I can see it and I can feel it, and especially from this weekend. We had a 20% growth in the number of leaders that were there this weekend versus last year. In our org alone, for the month of December, we more than doubled 2016 over 2015. Okay? So big things are happening. And you guys, this is just like the tip of the iceberg, because just seeing how everything's happened. Some of you are brand new reps in the last 4 to 6 months. We've hired several new people at the top of the corporation, just because we are growing so fast. So hold on tight, because here we go. So Danielle and Tegan, you guys want to take it over and start talking about January and why January is the magic month?
I can't see you, T. Are you going first?
No, you are.
Okay. As Annie said, everyone on this call is at different levels. I know that every single day we're bringing people into our organization, and it's just, I've seen a lot of growth even over the last week or so. So there may be people on here who have been with Wildtree for 2+ years. There may be people on this call who have been here, 6 months and kind of have a better feel, or maybe you joined today and you're like, oh, I want to see what this is all about. And so none of this will make sense, and that's okay. But basically, just like with anything else, January 1st is always a fresh start, right? I'm not a big one on like New Year's resolutions per se. But the majority of people are. It's kind of a fresh start, and it's no different with Wildtree. So unless you are still going for trip from last year, would really be where it was still impacting your 2016. But for everyone else on the call, sorry, I'm trying to turn my phone volume down because I'm getting like 17 texts in a row. Then this is your fresh, clean slate. Okay, so you have 11.5 months left to what you're going to do in 2017. So every single day counts. Doing something little every day counts. But I love this feeling of everyone gets a fresh, clean slate. So some people started 2 months ago and they're like, oh, well, what can I accomplish with the rest of this year? It's fine. It's over. Like, we're starting on new. So right now, you may or may not know that we have double host credits. So what does that mean? Double host credits is basically applied towards your hostess who has a qualified party. Now, we say on average that's about 7 guests. I actually had 7 guests at a workshop that fell like a few dollars short. So that is an average. You can throw on a product there to hit that, but it's a $500 event. So that can come in a variety of ways. That can come through, a workshop, which we talk a lot about. We now have, our mealtime solutions parties, what used to be called tastings, whatever kind of verbiage you feel really is effective for you personally, where you just gather people together and introduce them to Wildtree. That could be a Facebook party. That can be a catalog party that your husband takes to support your business, right? How fun would that be? However that happens, when you get to $500 in sales, normally that your host incentive would be 20%, 20%, but right now it's 40%. So instead of getting $100 in product, it's $200. And hello, who doesn't want $200 worth of organic groceries in their cabinet, including us? So we should all be hosting our own events. If you're Kansas City local, we obviously have the mega workshop this Saturday. So you can invite people to that and let your leaders do the work for you and do all the talking, and you can just smile and shake hands and bring a side dish. So otherwise, there's so much time left in the month where you can host your own event. You get free product, plus you get paid. And you can do whatever you want with that money. You can tithe it to your church. You can, whatever that looks like, just simply because you were doing your own meal prep and inviting others to do that with you. This is also really a great time to invite people to look at Wildtree from a hosting perspective and the benefit that they get. Like, just explaining to them, I think it really is hard sometimes for people to understand how much $200 plus in free groceries really is. So there's a great picture out on the MRC, if you have not seen that yet, that has a picture of $200 in free product. So I would really encourage you all to utilize that so that people have a good visual. We have a lot of visual people out there. So one of the really great things when we were talking about our call today, we used to have a trainer called named Lynn Conway, and she has many, many years in our direct selling industry. And one of the things that I learned that really stuck with me right from the very beginning was, I thought of you because. So if you're taking notes, I would write that down. I thought of you because. One of the main things that a lot of us probably see, and if you're personally connected with me on Facebook, you might have seen my rant today. Sorry about that. But, we don't blanketly invite people into our direct selling business because we want to make money or because we want something out of it, right? It's about serving others, loving others, and being intentional with why we want people to look at what we do from a not only from a product standpoint, but from a solutions and a services product. We are so unique in what we do that we offer a solution and a service. Mm-hmm. Everybody eats. Everybody needs to simplify mealtime. But we don't want to blanketly do that. Is that to say that I haven't had a huge online blowout sale and I invited a bunch of people? Yeah, sure. But when you're talking to someone about a hosting opportunity, it really needs to be an intentional conversation that goes something like this. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So you're reaching out to someone, you're either new in your business, or you're maybe you're looking at a calendar and you're like, man, I really want to get a few more bookings this month and take advantage of this double host credit. So you are calling, if you have a phone number, right? Number one way to actually reach someone is to talk on the phone, because you can't hear a lot of excitement over a keyboard. However, a lot of people aren't comfortable on the phone, so texting to try and at least, invite them to have a phone call with you would be a great backup plan. It would go something like this. Hey, Susie, I was thinking of you because you told me you always seem so crazy busy this time of year. It's not soccer season, but I'm going to use that as an example. You have 3 kids that play soccer. They're always running in different directions at different times. And I thought about you because I don't know if you know that I actually provide meal planning solutions through Wildtree. Pause, right? Because we got to give some opportunity for them to talk. And so what I'm going to tell you right now is 8 to 9 people that I still meet today have never, out of 10, have never even heard of Wildtree. So if you go on and on and on and on and on about Wildtree, they have literally zero idea of what you're talking about. So again, being intentional with that conversation. So I provide meal planning solutions and services through Wildtree. Have you ever heard of Wildtree? Most of the time when I encounter new people who have not, are not already someone I've introduced to Wildtree or someone else I know has, I've heard something about it. That's usually what I hear. I've heard something about it. But what I find when I dig down is most likely they don't really know, because they don't know what they don't know. Because I'll tell you, I thought Annie sold Alfredo seasoning for food. It's really good Alfredo seasoning, but I literally had no idea what I was missing out on, because I wasn't at a place where I was ready to accept new information. Okay, so we have to respect that. So anyway, going back to being really intentional with people. So, hey, Jenny, you've told me that your husband's going to be traveling a lot over the next few months. What would you think if I told you I had a way to help you stock your freezer with simple, healthy dinners to help reduce some of that stress during this time? Is that something you would be open to hearing more about? Okay, then you're asking for their acceptance to have this conversation, right? That you're inviting them into this conversation. Then as you're establishing their interest, then you can talk about, I have even better news. You can actually just invite some friends over and you can actually earn Wildtree products for free. Is that something that would interest you? Would you like to hear more about that? I hope that you hear some of the questions that I'm saying here, because then you're getting their buy-in to proceed forward in this conversation, to educate them more, and then it's not a bunch of push energy. I want to tell you all about Wildtree, and we have 200 products, and 175 of them are gluten-free, and I know you're going to like it, and the taco sauce is probably my favorite, and you know what I mean? So I hope that you can decipher the difference in that energy and how we invite people. So how that circles back to January is, now is just such a really great time to reach out to people because you have something really cool to talk about with double host credits, right? And so people may have heard about Wildtree, and maybe 4 months ago they told you, oh, I'm kind of interested. You have a reason to circle back. I did this at the very beginning of January. Hey, top 10 list that's been on there. Shoot them a text over and just be like, hey, I know we've discussed this before. Now would be a really great time for you to jump on this because you're going to be able to completely redo your pantry. Would you like to talk about it more? So, or here are my open dates. My dates will go fast. So that's another thing you want to say, is creating a sense of urgency. If you say, well, I pretty much have 32 times to choose from, that will overwhelm them and have a hard time for you guys to connect on a date and time that would work. So saying, hey, I have these 3 dates. I usually don't give more than 3 days in time. I have three dates. Which one works best for you? Hear that? Which one works best for you? So then it's giving them an opportunity. Well, actually I can't do during the week. It has to be a weekend. Oh, it does? Well, let me review my calendar and see if I have any weekend dates open. So you have to really make it sound like, and if you're new, I know that sounds really probably weird because you have no bookings, but that's okay. It's called fake it till you make it. So, because we know and we're confident in the fact that you're going to stock that calendar up. So,
can I share something real quick, Danielle?
Yeah, of course.
When I first started doing workshops and really started my business, I had 3 people that came to my launch. Okay. And what my words that I said then, because I had no other bookings on my calendar, was everyone is loving these freezer meals. Get on my calendar now because it's going to fill up when I start calling my friends. And from that, I had 2 bookings and a rep sign for my 3 people that were there. So that's what you can say is, I know my calendar is going to fill up. Everyone else in Wildtree, this is what happens to them. Their calendar gets full. So get on now. Let's go. So create that sense of urgency for them.
Yes. And I thought of you first, right? Because people like to be made to feel important. And if you're reaching out to them, they are important to you in some capacity. So I thought of you first before I reached out to these other people. So that's what I did at the beginning of January or the end of December when I knew that we were having double host credits was I said, I'm offering up these dates, but I offered it to you first. So could you get back to me like in the next, 6 hours or something, just so I can know which one works best for you and lock you in. So creating a sense of urgency, making people feel important, utilizing new information. So every time we have new information, whether it's new product or a new graphic that has come out about meal planning, whatever that is a perfect time for you to share, because being consistent will be the number one reason you succeed in this business. And sometimes that only means you grab 5 minutes out of a day, and maybe another day you have an hour, whatever, doing something every day to propel you forward. So here we are, we're halfway through January. And some of you may be just rocking it out and doing exactly what you want to do, and you know you're going to hit your goal for the month. Well, now might be a time to reevaluate with your leader whether you want to set a stretch goal, which is, here's my goal, and here's the one that makes me want to throw up, which is, Tegan will talk a little bit about that, I think, in a little bit. So we have our throw up goal, right? Our stretch goal. Or maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not exactly where I thought I would be yet this month. And so what am I going to do to get there? Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions, give you some tips on what works for us and for others. Or maybe you're brand new and you want to leverage this, but you just don't know where to start. So you may be at any different level, and all of that is okay. And so that's just where we're at. Now, I was sharing with Tegan and Andy earlier, everybody has a different perspective and mindset in life, right? So a lot of people will say, well, we're halfway through the month. And so that could be a glass half empty. Like, well, half the glass is already drank, right? There's nothing we can do about that. So you're a glass half empty, or you're a glass half full. You're like, I have 14 days. That's 2 weeks. Lots of things can happen in 2 weeks. So, it's just dependent on what your mindset is and what you can accomplish. So from a logistics standpoint, I do want to share with you that the way double host credits works, you really can book out until mid-February, because the orders just have to be in the last day of January. So dead set, that will not extend. It has to be in the last day of January. So don't be thinking, oh, I have to have a workshop in the next 2 weeks. Be thinking out into February, be looking at all of your available dates and doing what you can. And what we encourage is overbooking, because you might have something happen where somebody has to cancel. I was sharing with a hostess on some options on a workshop that wasn't getting the attendance she had hoped for. And she had a really negative, felt bad about it. And I said, you know what? We're in the middle of an ice storm. People are hibernating. They don't want to get out. And so I didn't want her to feel bad. I wanted us to figure out options that were still going to serve her and make her feel good and still have a positive Wildtree experience. So, Tegan, I know that there's probably a lot I haven't said, so I'll just stop now, because I'll let you add on whatever you want to.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So you guys just heard Danielle help out with a lot of verbiage and kind of the context of January and double hostess credit and where we sit right now with 14 days, 15 days left in the month. And so many of you, like she mentioned, are coming in with a different mindset. So when we talk about kind of this vision and this goal mapping for every single person, it's going to look a little bit differently. So if you guys have not had a chance to fill out this Wildtree Your Way document, I would highly encourage it. It's for reps at any level, regardless if you are brand spanking new, fresh out the gate, have no idea what you're doing. It's going to kind of put into context why you're here and what your goals are. So I air quote goals because your goal may not be a financial goal. Your goal might be to fill your own freezer, to use Wildtree and love it in your own home, to share with your immediate friends and family. Your goal might be an income-based goal. You might need to make $500, $1,000, $2,000 additional dollars a month. And this document will really help map that out. And then I would encourage you to share it with your upline leader so we can link arms with you and really move forward as a united front. We have, combined 15 years experience?
A lot.
Oh, are you guys all frozen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now you're frozen. Can you hear me, Danielle?
I can hear you.
So it's just Tegan
Did
that's
you
frozen?
lose connection?
I don't know.
Tegan.
And let's see if she calls back in.
Does anybody, we'll pause for, oh, there she is.
Am I back?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're back.
Okay. What did you guys last hear?
15 years of experience combined.
Okay. So we have like a combined 15 years experience, right? About ish, right below.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's kind of our passion in this, is to really help people reach their goals. So we wanted to touch base on that. We took some tips and stuff from leadership that we brought back and implemented in this. And, just to kind of get your brain thinking about one step further than you probably are at right now. Think about what your individual passion is behind Wildtree. What made you join? And so I want you guys to take a second and write that down. What made you guys join Wildtree? What was that knee-jerk, I should probably do this? So what was your need? And then what have you found to be true about that need in Wildtree? So why Wildtree? And then the next thing is, what do you hope for out of your business? What do you hope for? Again, could be a financial goal, could be a need for healthy mealtime solutions. And then the final thing is, if there were one more thing that you could share that you're afraid to say out loud, that maybe you haven't shared with someone, about why you chose Wildtree or why you need this opportunity, what would that look like? Okay. And then does anyone want to share? Be brave and share why they joined, or one goal that they would like to tackle with their business.
I'll share. Can you hear me? It's
Yeah.
Ann.
That's Ann. Hey, Ann.
Hey. Well, I'm still new because my kid only just got here and then I got the flu. So I'm going to be starting Wednesday and Thursday with my sampling at our cheer gym. And I joined because I was looking for a way to have my daughter's gluten allergy issue taken care of, as well as my GMO issue, because I figured out that I can eat Canadian foods but not American foods. So That's one of the reasons why I joined was I'd watched Tegan for about a month, and then I was going to join just before Christmas, but after talking, I guess the group talked, and she led me to start in January. So I started January 1st, but my kit didn't arrive until Thursday. And I'm interested in supplemented income, and so that I can still bring home an income and be a stay-at-home mom.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Who else here, by a show of hands, has a desire to have a supplemental income and be a stay-at-home parent? Some common ground there, for sure. Does anyone else want to share? Okay. So I will go ahead and share real quick. We're going to go into more depth with this as a large organization about telling your story. But just so you guys can hear, I lost myself as a mom. I had 4 small children and felt like I was missing a piece of me. And so I didn't know that I needed Wildtree at the time. I had no idea. I told Annie no for a very long time. 4 years, I told her no. And it's
Tegan, because that's a huge impact. And you guys talked about consistency. Danielle talked about consistency. So for 4 years, she told me no.
Yeah. So consistent follow-up. There were always times when Annie and I would cross paths, and she would speak Wildtree into me and just leave it as a blanket statement. You know, I would love to talk to you more about this. It seems like it could really benefit you. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to hear it. And I don't know if Haley's on the call tonight, but Haley recently joined, and she has been watching my journey since day one. Are you on, Haley? I don't know if she is. But she's been watching for 3 years and just joined. And it just speaks volumes into really paying attention to people and knowing that if they tell you no for whatever reason, being a customer and trying the products, being a hostess and inviting people into their home and really supporting your business in that way, all the way to joining. Even if you see from an outside perspective that you know that they could or would find value in what Wildtree has to offer, and they say no, it's simply that they're not ready to hear it. So don't give up on them. Just drop consistent feeds. Danielle had a fantastic point earlier. I hope you guys all made a note of that. In that every single time that we have a new catalog drop, January 1st, new product, new incentive, anything that's new gives you a free ticket, a free pass to reach back out. That's huge. So definitely make mental note of that, write it down, and keep a list of people who you have spoken with, who have shown interest but aren't ready yet in all those different areas, whether it's trying the product, hosting or attending an event of yours, or joining and earning an income with us. So I wanted to kind of touch base on that because we all have different reasons why we're here. And being able to articulate your story is something that will massively help you in painting a picture and really identifying with other people, having that commonality with others. So
I totally threw you off from telling your story. Sorry. I said I totally threw you off from finish your story.
So I just felt like I lost a piece of myself as a mom, as a person. Again, 4 small children, my husband, and what's interesting is that that's the story I tell. Because it is true and it's a huge part of why I Wildtree. But if I were to share that scary one more thing with you guys, it's because we were on the brink of, well, not even the brink of, we were in a really bad financial crisis. My husband had blown out his back, had emergency back surgery. We lived in Kansas at the time. We were poverty level. I honestly had no idea how we were going to survive. And Wildtree provided an income that I had no idea I was capable of making in a direct sales company. Within a couple months, I'd say right about 6 months, I was making more than $1,000 a month. And now on average, my paychecks are right about $3,500. And it allowed for us to climb out of that despair. It allowed for us a year and a half later to make a decision to move from Kansas to Colorado, where my husband accepted a position in ministry, which is his dream job. And as many of us know, is a 65% pay cut from what he was making. So it has afforded us to do that. And I never thought that was possible. So I'm able to take my kids to and from 5 pickups and drop-offs with 3 different ages of kids in school, and I'm there for all of it. So it's a big deal. And what we offer is a big deal. And so being able to share my story, and topically, I would say, oh my gosh, I totally needed something that was mine. And where that is so true and so relevant, if you were to say, what's that one thing, it would be Wildtree saved us financially. I wouldn't have been able to go out and get a full-time job and put 4 kids in childcare. It just wouldn't have been possible. So that's huge. So if that kind of paints a picture of what this has done for my life, be thinking about how that correlates with your story and how you can really identify with people and reach them on a heart level with this opportunity. Again, whether that's being a customer and really taking advantage of our product line and the benefits there, whether that's hosting and filling their or that's joining and earning an income that really they choose. You guys all have the ability to choose your income every single month. So that's that piece. Did anyone want to add anything? Danielle, Annie, Suzanne, Kat, anyone else on here?
I wanted to talk about team building because you touched on it, unless you were going to go into that about since we're on the topic of January.
Can I say one more thing about your story before we go into team building?
Sure.
I was really at the beginning shy in telling my story. Like I just didn't realize that my voice would have an impact on other people. And if you're sitting there right now thinking anything about, well, my story just, I'm not sure if that'll affect anyone. I can just tell you that your story is so important and your story is going to be heard by the people that need to hear it. And I want you to tell your story as many times as you can, because if you don't see the value in the story and your story, and that's where I was a few years ago, we are here to tell you and support you that your story is so, so, so important. And please, please share it with those that you run across. Okay. And if you want to talk to me more about that, I am happy to have those conversations just because I know that I've been there. So reach out, please reach out to your upline or to any of us, and we're happy to help you guys. So just know that your story is so worthy of being heard by everyone that you meet.
Yep. And then Danielle, if you wanted to jump into the team building, I have some points to add on that I can piggyback off yours.
Okay. I was going to say, so well said for Annie. I think one of the things I tell my team all the time, the number one thing you need to do in this business is get good at telling stories. And when I say stories, I don't mean tall tales. I don't mean lies. I mean stories. I mean, if you don't have a story yet, you can borrow Tegan's and say, well, I met, Tegan, and it really was impactful to hear how this has really changed her life, or I've met Danielle, or I've met Annie, or whatever. I will give you my very brief story. After I used to love to cook, and we moved when I was 9 days before having my third baby, and I had a 4 and a 2-year-old, and I knew about Wildtree also for probably 4 years from Annie. Goes to show the power of never quitting, because I think she would tell you that it was worth waiting for Tegan and I. And all of you that are on this call under Tegan and I. So I was literally, my husband would come in at night, and I was fried from being home with 3 kids, 4 and under. And I would look at him and just laugh. Of course, I'm grateful my husband wasn't like, hey, what's for dinner? Like, he's not that guy. But I would be like, there's like probably some moldy food in the cabinet, or cereal, or chips and salsa. I mean, whatever you like want to whip up, you're all about it. But I didn't cook. And I just really felt like I am passionate about like trying to feed my family pretty healthy, for the most part, or trying to make healthier decisions. And I like to cook, and I wasn't feeding that part, but I knew I needed something for myself and to have conversations with people not in diapers. And so that's what really brought me. And we had moved into a new house that we were a little bit fearful of the cost increase. And I thought, well, if I can make some money doing this, that would be great. So what I didn't know was that I could have a hand in helping so many people with what's the start of some really life-changing income and life-changing decisions based on just them being open-minded to have a conversation with me about what I do. So I really never knew that I could have that kind of impact that makes me want to get up in the morning and keep doing this despite someone telling me no, or despite, my own fears and the things I have to work through with my own brick walls. So that is my brief story. So again, it's just, I hope that you hear what we're saying. And the product was awesome. I mean, the product's great. I'm sure everyone on here has probably tried Wildtree, and you're like, oh, it's amazing. I love the Chipotle lime. But I feel like when we're in front of people, they want to know more. They want to know more about just us in general. The reality is people do business with people, not products. So they're doing business with us because of our story, because of the connection that we build with them, with the relationship we build with them. That's what it's all about, is relationship building. So speaking of relationship building, is team building. So January is another really great time to start honing in on those team building skills. I know from a top-down perspective, team building is going to be a huge focus this year with Wildtree across the board. So this is really getting confident in talking about the business opportunity. So if you're newer, you may not be because, you just feel like, I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever. The reality is there's no wrong answer other than telling them that our business kit costs $20, because it doesn't. It's $49.95 plus tax and shipping. But I mean, you don't have to have all the answers. That's what we're here for. You don't have to feel like you have to be an expert. All you have to do is share why you chose to say yes. And then you can share other stories. But I want people to start working on their comfort level of sharing the business opportunity. And Jenny Pickett had saw the best billboard that said, never rob somebody else of an opportunity, something like that. Annie, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. And that really stuck with me because I thought about how many times if I hadn't shared the opportunity, where would I be? And you can do it in a way that's not pushy. One of my favorite things to say is, this may or may not be for you, but would you be open to hearing more about what I do in terms of from a business perspective or from an income perspective? The reality is that many, 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 many more people care about increasing their family's income than they do about taco seasoning. So that is really the product is our leverage. I mean, it's an amazing product that we can feel confident in, but it's our leverage into helping families from more than just a perspective of filling their freezers. So if one of your goals with Wildtree is to consistently make $1,000 or more per month, then you need to be looking at what does it take to be a team leader. And that's for a whole separate call. And I would encourage you, if you want to make $1,000 or more consistently per month, that you talk to your upline leader about what it takes to become a team leader and get on that kind of path. But with that does come team building. And so it does become getting confident with having that conversation, realizing people are going to tell you no, and that's okay. realizing that sometimes 4 years later is when the magic happens and your life is completely changed by the organization that is built. So that is really just going to be a big thing we focus on, is just being able to feel confident in offering the business as our best product, to be quite honest. So, while people are in the mindset of a new year and health goals, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to get back in the gym, I want to start taking good supplements. I'm sure you guys are all hearing this stuff or seeing it on social media. Along with that, what stands out to me are the people I see talking about, what budget system do you use for your family? I'm looking at a second job. Those are the things that stand out for me, because those are things that I'm like, okay, this person might be open to having a conversation. So it's really just paying attention to people, working on your confidence, and realizing the value in what we offer. So if you've made any money with Wildtree yet, which some of you may not have, my first paycheck was $350. It wasn't what I make over $3,000 a month now. And I'm confident in sharing that, but it didn't start that way. A lot of people would say $350, like, this isn't worth it, but I knew what the long-term outcome would be. So, Tegan, Annie, what do you want to add about that? I know you said you had some piggyback. Tegan, I'll find you.
Oh yeah. And one thing I would add is a new rep. Like, I remember when I was a new rep and I thought, add somebody to my team. Well, then what do I do? So don't worry about it. When you add someone to your team, you email and you celebrate with your upline and let them help train the person. Okay. So don't feel like, I don't know what to do. Don't worry about that. You just get a hold of your upline leader, or you call one of us. Just make sure someone's plugged into you and to your new team member, so that we can help train. So, and if fear is holding you back, it's what held me back for a while. So once I made the decision to not allow fear to hold me back is when my team exploded and I hit senior director within 6 months. So that's what can happen. That's the difference between fear holding you back and then no fear holding you back. And I just pretty much, like Danielle said earlier, like, I faked it till I made it, or maybe Tegan said that, but that's what I did. I just pretended I was acting so I didn't have that fear. So reach out. If you're fearful of something, don't let that hold you back. Don't let it hold you back from the generational change that you can make on your family for years and years and years to come. So,
yeah. And just to kind of cap out the team building conversation, really think about who would find value in Wildtree, and make a list. Start writing them down. And every time, Kat, can you show yours? Every time that you think of someone who you want to reach out to about the business opportunity or about hosting. So here's Kat's list. Can you guys see? She has this little notebook she keeps with her, and it's divided out by tab. And so she keeps track of, oh, are you on mute, Kat?
I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, but my goal is to have it with me all the time. So when I'm all of a sudden sitting, driving my son to school and go, oh, so-and-so, I can then, when I stop, pull over, write it down. And so I'm doing one for hostesses, one for recruits, and just people who I should share Wildtree with, whether it's to have them interested in the product, the business, or hosting.
Yep, absolutely. And then take that one step further. And what I tell my org all the time is make your chicken list. Make a list of people who you are scared to death to reach out to, who you either are close with, maybe they're a family member or someone you grew up with, or maybe they are someone on Facebook or someone that you've spoken with about Wildtree at some point and you haven't followed up with very well. Whatever that looks like, make your chicken list and really reach out to those people. I encourage my people to share their chicken list with me, and then we celebrate every time they reach out to someone on their chicken list. It will surprise you who is interested, and at least hearing more. So with the team building, know that, again, it's the ready, not ready. Know that they're not saying no to you. They're just not ready. So keep them in a follow-up list. Make sure you're still reaching out to them consistently, and know that anyone at any time can become ready. So you could meet, be open to new opportunities. You could meet someone in the grocery store. You could meet someone at a park, wherever. So just be open to listening, be open to meaningful conversations, and be open to sharing the business opportunity, because like Danielle mentioned, it is literally the very best thing we can offer. So there's that piece.
Yeah. And a great line is what we talked about earlier with, I thought of you because, so when you're making that list that Tegan's talking about, even jot out to the side, why did you think of them? So then you've got it there. So when you call them to have that conversation, it is right there. I thought of you because blah, 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 blah.
Yep, absolutely.
I was going to share this. This is a little bit different than what Kat did, but if you're someone who I don't know if anyone's ever seen this, you can order this off Amazon.com. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you would look for, but just activity log or whatever. This is really popular, but you can just, it's funny because there are names on here from my initial list of 100. And then it has on here like date, time, phone number, and subject, follow-up required. So you can take notes. I mean, it may not work for you, but it's something that will at least keep everything in like one place as you think of people. And then I would write down like in my follow-up or whatever, I would write like left voicemail on January 16th, email in 2 days or whatever. So having a system like that is always going to be the most impactful, especially when you do start doing events and you have customer care surveys and however you choose to handle those and that information, that's imperative information at your fingertips, because those are people, especially if they've already been to a workshop. I understand that a lot of people are like, I hear this a lot. Well, I don't want to bug people. I hear that from a lot of people. I would really encourage you to shift that mindset, because I cannot imagine Wildtree not in my life, not even from a financial perspective, but how easy my life. I never worry about what's for dinner. So I think I could make so many people's lives easier with their dinner time solutions. So if you go with it with that mindset and you don't think you're bugging people, I can promise you every busy mom that wants help with dinner. Yeah. So it's really just working on your mindset shift around that.
Yeah.
People are celebrating right there. I hear them.
Woohoo.
That's awesome. Well, we have about 10 more minutes. Tegan, did you have something else you were going to add to that you started to say?
I was just actually going to kind of visit hosting this month, talking about parties that are already booked on your calendar, and really effectively communicating with your hostesses. So does that sound good?
Yep, you can do that. And then talk about the trip.
Yeah. Do you think we should probably leave like 3 minutes open for Q&A?
Yeah, perfect.
Covered a lot of information.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so many of you have things that are already on your calendar. Some of you might have things that where your hostess isn't getting the response that she thought she would, or maybe she's wanting to reschedule or cancel. And so we really just wanted to encourage you guys to have meaningful conversations with your hostesses right from get-go. The second that they're interested in hosting, really getting them on the phone and having a phone conversation with them, identifying why they're wanting to host. And let's say you're brand new and you're reaching out to people and saying, oh my gosh, I just started this awesome new thing. I'm really excited about it. Do you want to be one of my first hostesses? So their why might look like, well, I just really wanted to help you out, sister. And so what we're doing is trying to get them to be excited about the value that Wildtree offers and wanting to share that value with people in their circles of influence. So it's all about helping them identify with the value of our product, or the value of productivity. If you're doing a dinner prep workshop, getting their friends all together, maybe having a drink, assembling half a month's worth of dinners. That's a huge exclamation point. Like Danielle said, everyone wants a solution to mealtime. So if you are having that conversation with your hostess, she's going into it with a clear mindset of, okay, I know who I'm wanting to reach out to, because I want these people to have a meaningful experience, to be productive, to be happy around mealtime, whatever that looks like. So right away, you're getting her to connect with the party. I don't like the word party, event, connect with the event. And so from there, really having her identify, use that document that we recommend, the 40 friends in 4 minutes, and have her map out who she's going to invite. Because again, it's a numbers game. If she invites 5 people, maybe 1 will come. If she invites 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 will come, and so on. So if she invites 40, it's going to be about 10 people that end up coming. And so having her map out that document and reach out to them right away. Having her really confirm the 10 people, ask her, who are you most excited about inviting to your dinner prep workshop or mealtime solutions tasting, whichever party it is. And then beyond that, having her, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so identifying the 40 friends in 4 minutes, and then having her be really involved in the inviting process. Did I lose you guys again?
I can hear you.
You're good. Or maybe she did.
Is she frozen? So bottom line, good host coaching and communication across the board.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Are you there?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Are we back? We're good?
Yeah, I said bottom line is good host coaching and good communication across the board in all areas. I was just filling the gap there.
Yes. Boom. So good hostess coaching, getting her identify with the event. And then knowing also that if you have a dinner prep workshop, your hostess is not only inviting to the night of the meal assembly, she's inviting to the night of for people to come check out what it's all about, check out what Wildtree has to offer, sample the products, shop the catalog, customize their pantry purchase. And so what the room should look like is half the room assembling meals and half the room coming to check it out. So if she's worried at all about the upfront cost, assure her that her event will be, it'll be successful regardless, but assure her that she will have people who want to come check it out without purchasing the kit in advance. So does that all make sense? Yeah. Okay. So if she's wanting to cancel, I would, again, have a meaningful conversation with her on the phone and just have her identify what her fears are. Some hostesses, most of us, me included, want a good turnout at our events. I am hosting a LuLaRoe pop-up at my house next week, and I want a good turnout. I want it to be successful in my eyes, which is a good amount of bodies in the room. And I know that if we get hostesses who feel like no one's interested or no one's connecting with the event, maybe they're not knowledgeable enough about what Wildtree has to offer, and that's our job. That's where we come into play, and where we can really either post in their Facebook event or have a good YouTube video kind of showcasing what the Wildtree workshop looks like. Let us do that Q&A with the customer. So that's kind of our tips on hosting and hostess coaching. But really know that if you have an event that has 4 people there, Sometimes those are the most meaningful events I have been to. So don't discredit the ones and roll your eyes and think, oh my goodness, I just don't want to go. It's not worth my time. Like Annie said, when she launched, she had 3 people there, and the interest level is always higher when you have a smaller group, because there's so much more meaningful conversation happening, and most of them are more invested. So bigger events are 100% an exclamation point, because they give you the biggest bang for your buck, and your hostesses as well. But don't discredit those little guys too.
I had a workshop recently with 3 people, and definitely that part of you goes, oh, man. But I booked 100%, 3 workshops from it. Mm-hmm. And just the workshop I had the other night, she's very interested in being a rep. She is a huge Wildtree advocate, and she was new to Wildtree, and it was worth every second that I spent that evening. So you just never know where that diamond in the rough is going to come from.
Yeah, absolutely. And just by a show of hands, just so we can gauge for future calls, who would like to have a call specifically on hostess coaching? Lots of people. Okay, who would like to have a call on team building? Okay.
I just scroll through. I wish we could see everybody. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll work as a leadership team and kind of develop a maybe even a call calendar here coming up, so we can really get some tangible training in your hands, verbiage, things like that. So.
Okay. So the last thing we want to end with real quick is they announced the trip for next year, and Tegan had talked about it earlier, saying really, if you are working towards team leader, you're wanting some consistent income, if you're wanting over $1,000 of consistent income each month, the trip is really a byproduct of that consistent work. So if that's in your mindset at all, then please reach out to your upline leader, your upline director, whatever you want, as soon as possible, because we're starting to track for Panama, and I am so excited. I've never been there, so it's going to be amazing. They added an extra day on the trip this year, so it's going to be amazing. So if that's you, please reach out to us so we can help you, because we want as many people from our organization to be on the beach. It's fantastic. So that will be great. And then I think we'll post a question on each of our Facebook pages just to sum up tonight and see what action step you're going to take from tonight to be in power of your business. So watch for that on Facebook, and think about that. What's the one thing? You don't have to implement everything that we said tonight. We're giving you guys all different kinds of ideas because you're in all different steps of your business. But put out there and comment on that. What impacted you most from tonight? Was it about learning how to tell your story? Was it the hostess coaching? Is it team building? What impact, and what are you going to do? What action are you going to take to be in power? So.
And can I add one more thing? Yeah. Regardless of where you guys are in your business, whether you're brand new, whether you're wanting to relaunch, whether you're, have one big toe in and you're like, oh, what do I want to do with this in 2017? Every single one of us has the opportunity to start right where we are. So if you have nothing on your calendar and you're looking at it like, I don't even know where to start or start again, all of us start at the same place. So contact list of 100, revisit that, map out your contacts, take your calendar and map out your open dates for the next 3 months. I got this bad boy at Target, and he's literally just the calendar pages, like in a at a month glance through the whole year, and take a highlighter and map out when you are available for the next 3 months. So when you're having conversations about when you can even do events, going into it that you have been in control of your calendar, that you set the dates that you're open. So there's no back and forth with booking and filling your calendar. And then make those lists beyond your contact list of 100. Make a list of people who you've either wanted to reach out to about Wildtree or maybe have in 3 different areas. Customer, so product, you want to share with them about the product, hostess, and potentially joining. So map those out. So contact list of 100, those 3 lists, and your calendar. Start there. Bare bones. Everyone can start from that same starting point.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know a lot of people probably want to hop off. We want to be respectful of everyone's time because it's been an hour. But if anybody, has questions, I'm happy to stay here. It's not a lot of times you'll get 3 directors on a call where you can ask questions. No question is dumb. No question we haven't heard before. But we don't want to throw all this information at you and not give you an opportunity to ask questions. So if you need to hop off, we totally understand and respect that. If you have questions, we'll hang on here for a minute for that too. You can either type them or say them. And I want to just one real quick thing on